How's it going, everybody? Thank you all very much for watching. I very much appreciate you. Welcome to the channel. I'm Orlando Ruiz Jr. Welcome to the third classic horror movie review of 2024. This is my review of Friday the 13th Part 3. That was originally in 3D, so Friday the 13th 3D, if you want to call it that. I believe this takes place shortly after the events of the previous movie, where you had Sackhead Jason terrorizing Amy Steele's character Ginny and her friends in that one. And here you got Dana Kimmell as our main final girl in the role of Chris. She is joined by her friends Rick, this guy that is kind of sweet on her. You also have a couple in the film, a hippie couple, Chuck and Chili. You also have the character of Vera and this guy that they try to hook her up with, Shelly, who is very, very annoying in this movie. And you also have Andy and his girl Debbie, who might be pregnant, which makes it all the more tragic when Jason comes around. And yeah, there are some very memorable kills in this one. For my money, most of the main cast in the movie does do a good job in the acting department. It's just there are a couple of performances in there in terms of the main cast, and even some supporting characters, like smaller parts in the movie, that do feel on the weaker side. But since it is a Friday the 13th movie, you do forgive that kind of stuff, because what we really come to these movies for is the mayhem, the blood, the gore, the Jason of it all. And we do get Jason in The Mask. After having directed the second movie and then helming the third film, director Steve Miner, I think, did what he could to differentiate this movie from the previous two by giving Jason that different look with the hockey mask, by incorporating the 3D, by adding an element of some biker gang to terrorize the teenagers for a little bit. So there's different things in here that give it a little bit of a different flavor than the last one, so at least it's not the same kind of copy and paste movie. I'm assuming back in 1982, the audiences of that era had a lot of fun going to see this in 3D, but nowadays, I'm not sure if the 3D in Friday the 13th Part 3 would hold up for people that went to go see Avatar in 3D or anything in more recent years, because when you just see somebody playing with a yo-yo, or they're trying to hang up their laundry and kind of adjust the pole and it faces the camera, it's not all that exciting. It's a bit amusing, but it's not all that great. And so if you want to watch this for the 3D, don't. Unless you really, really want to just check it out of morbid curiosity. I do have a couple of 3D specs, the old school ones, the blue and red. And when I watch this movie, I do like to put it on sometimes just for the hell of it, because for me it is slightly amusing, but it doesn't really enhance the movie all that much. When it comes to Friday the 13th, I don't think anyone comes to these movies to see great writing in terms of the dialogue. The first movie was okay in terms of the dialogue, and the second movie actually stepped up the game and it had better dialogue. This time around, I feel like it dips a little bit, and some of the dialogue delivery and some of the writing of the dialogue itself isn't all that strong. And because some of the actors in the movie are pretty weak, it just brings out that bad dialogue even more. One critique that I hear that is quite common with these movies is the pacing. A lot of people say that these first few movies in the series are pretty slow in terms of the pacing, and I don't disagree. I think that they are kind of meandering a bit at times, but because to me these are kind of like hangout movies where you got characters basically hanging out at a camp or in like a camp type area. They're basically all just having a good time, and you got characters going off doing a little hanky panky over here. Some characters are going off to smoke a little something over there. Meanwhile, Jason is trying to pick out which one he's going to get next. I personally don't have any issue with the pacing as long as I'm enjoying my time with the characters. If there are characters that I enjoy spending time with, then a movie can be a little on the slower side as long as the characters are fun to hang out with. It's kind of made up for with these very insane kills. At one point, you see one guy doing a handstand walking down the hall, and Jason is right there ready to strike with this fucking axe and just boom, right down the middle. It's a crazy freaking sight. You also have somebody get a spear right through the eye. There's also a kill scene in this movie that pays homage to one of the death scenes from the original Friday the 13th that involves a girl laying in a hammock. And in the first film, you had a character laying in a bed where they get stabbed from underneath. And kind of the same deal here, where you see somebody getting a machete from underneath the hammock and goes right through to the top. You see it coming out of this person's chest. Pretty insane practical effects work in terms of the makeup effects. There's the usual stabbing, of course. There's the usual slicing of throats. There's one person that gets their head crushed by Jason solely with his hands, just like his hands are a freaking vice. And kind of reminds me a little bit of that scene in Casino with Joe Pesci, but a little bit more extreme, where you actually see the eyeball pop out, since this was in 3D after all. So it's kind of a funny looking effect, because it's kind of like one of those eyeballs that looks like it's on a spring almost, but still pretty funny to look at. When it comes to horror slasher movies of the 1980s, Friday the 13th Part 3 is not reinventing the wheel. It's not breaking any new ground, but if you want to watch this type of a movie from this era, Friday the 13th Part 3 will definitely scratch that itch. It's got some fun characters, some fun kills, very cool old school practical makeup gore effects. You also have Dana Kimmell from Midnight Offerings and Sweet 16, who was pretty good in those films, and I think she's very good in this one as well. And yeah, this is a very fun little 2.5 star Friday the 13th movie. I do recommend it, even though it's a bit lower on the scale in terms of ranking the movies. But you get all the stuff that you come to these movies for. You get the carnage candy, you get the kills, you get a little bit of nudity every now and then for those that like that kind of thing. I know I don't mind it. I do want to show off the box set that I usually like to put up there for you guys to see, since I don't have each movie individually. I got this really cool box set which has all the movies from 1980s original to the 2009 remake, including Freddy vs. Jason. Something else to love about this box set is it actually comes with 2 pairs of 3D glasses for when you decide to watch Friday the 13th Part 3. And yeah, not bad. It's actually a pretty cool little deal to get these babies in there with the box set, because whenever I do watch the movie, I have to admit, if there's somebody else with me that wants to check it out with me, I usually hand them the second pair, and we just sit down and we have a pretty good time. Pop in some popcorn in the microwave, and uh, you know, the old 3D glasses, and you feel like you're back in 1982. Thank you all very much for watching this classic movie review. I very much appreciate it. If you're into this kind of thing, if you're into movies, and if you're new to the channel, please hit the bell, become a subscriber. Please don't forget to comment, share, like, always helps out the channel. If you're a returning viewer, thank you very much for all of your support and your views. I very much appreciate it. Everybody, till next time, till the next classic horror movie review. Peace out. God bless. Take care.